Anxiety is a very natural human emotion. In fact, if you're a high achiever, research shows you're going to burn hotter than the average person. Professionals in high risk and high responsibility roles rarely seek help early, not because they lack any kind of awareness, but because the cost of getting help feels higher than the cost of pushing through. In this video, I'm going to explain why identity, injury messaging, family systems, and regulation skills all shape help-seeking behaviors long before a crisis shows up at work. What's going on, everyone? Dr. Greg here, and in this video, we're going to talk about how high-achieving individuals can improve their mental health with these few key steps that are going to prevent any kind of burnout or any sort of long-standing problems in their job. Let's start reframing the core issue, because if you misunderstand this early, every conversation about support, prevention, or mental health will miss the mark. So when we think about trauma, any kind of event that has sudden, unexpected implications on your mental health, it's going to negatively impact your emotion regulation because it is going to mess with the emotional regulation system within your brain. When we experience some kind of trauma, especially for individuals in high-risk professions, they are going to have a harder time working through those traumas that are not properly encoded into their memory banks. And this is going to mess with people's identities because they're going to start to think that they themselves are the trauma. And that's going to make them want to retreat and avoid their daily lives, which of course you can't do if you are a high-achieving individual. As people deal with these injuries, they end up retreating from their daily lives. And of course, what does that look like? That means I'm not going to be spending time with friends. I'm not going to be spending time with family. I'm going to be taking a lot of time off work. And I'm going to be stewing in all of that muck that trauma leaves for me. And it's going to feel like I can't really get out of it. So what can I do to help myself not only start to feel better, but also really try and find out who I am in a life after trauma? When we talk about mental health and the stigma around mental health these days, it's kind of understandable because when you see a lot of messaging out there that's very kind of woo-woo, feel good, it doesn't really cut to the heart of the problem, it makes sense that people want to back away. For example, if you hear someone say, trauma-informed care is such a great opportunity or option to pursue, but then they don't actually talk about how that's going to help you, well, I'm going to turn away from that. Or maybe I don't even know what trauma means because it's a word that's so overused on social media. One of the things that I hope to bring to you is this very crystal clear messaging about not only what we're talking about, but how you can deal with it on your own if you're not ready for therapy. Skills that are going to help people feel like they are in control of their lives, especially those high achievers, are going to be extremely valuable. These are skills that you can learn on your own and start to implement in your daily lives to be more skilled at your job, more effective in the ways that you talk with other people, and you're going to be able to stay in control of your decision making, which is so important when you're at the very top of the field. For example, understanding how a trauma is directly impacting not only your physiological sensations, how you feel in your body, but also how you are processing your emotions is going to help you make better decisions for you and your organization. Because if I know that this trauma is affecting me in X way, say, I want to kind of avoid certain types of conversations, I'm going to know that I need to use those communication skills in a more effective way, use them a little bit more regularly, and that's going to help me work through any of those issues that I got from the trauma. Or better yet, it's going to help prevent any kind of catastrophes from happening in the future. People who've experienced any kind of trauma think that they can hold it in. In fact, they can just shove down those emotions and then they don't have to deal with any of it. It's just going to stay buried in a box forever. But the truth is, avoidance only works in the short term. And even then, it's very, very short term. You're going to start to see these things spill out. First, it might be, hey, I've been a little irritable with the spouse, or I've been withdrawing from kids. Maybe I don't want to talk to my best friend who I've been friends with for more than a decade. Eventually, this is going to increase in its gravity, and you're going to start to see even worse outcomes at home. But of course, it's not going to stay there, because if people are having difficulty at home, it's going to come into the workplace. And if you're a high achiever, that's one of the last places that you want any of these trauma symptoms to show up. I talk about this all the time with people that I do therapy with. One of the key things, in fact, I would say the number one most important thing that you can do to work on starting to get better is practicing mindfulness. Now, what is that? We hear that all the time. I'm going to save you thousands of dollars on mindfulness courses right here, right now. It's paying attention on purpose to the present moment, non-judgmentally. By non-judgmental, I mean focusing just on the facts of the situation. If I am better able to understand what's happening, not only within me, but what's happening around me, wow, my decisions that I'm making at home, or the way that I'm communicating, it's negatively impacting others around me, then I am better able to make the changes that I need to make to live a more effective and healthier life. So listen, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. The fact of the matter is that anxiety is a very natural human emotion. In fact, if you're a high achiever, research shows you're going to burn hotter than the average person. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when that anxiety starts to cross into that territory of, I'm feeling unsafe, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can't handle the stressors of my job. What can we do to help you take a step back and work through that anxiety so that you can be more effective in your daily life? Well, of course, I'm a little biased, but I will say, come on over to therapy if you're ready for that, because we can look at that more in depth. But if you're not quite ready for that, one thing that you can do, if you find yourself feeling anxious in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range, ask yourself these two questions. Do I feel uncomfortable? Am I unsafe? If the answer is yes to discomfort and no to unsafe, guess what? You're not in a dangerous situation. What are some things you can do to bring those emotions down? It might be doing some belly breathing, taking 3 to 5 minutes and doing that. It might be removing yourself, going outside, just taking a minute to calm down. Now listen, maybe you've tried the deep breathing thing before, you don't like it, or maybe you've tried it, it's just not really the right time to use it. Here's something else. It's very quick, very practical. You ever see those situations where someone just splashes cold water on their face? It brings them down. Well, here's the thing. When we're anxious, guess what's happening? Heart's racing, temperature is going up. So we can start to address the emotions by actually regulating the body. If I cool the body down, I'm going to start to cool the emotions down. I'm confident that wherever you work, there's probably a sink. So take some time, go splash some cold water on your face. If you have a minute, make a cold compress. Put it on your forehead, put it on the back of your neck, 30 seconds. Watch how things will change with your mental state. I know it sounds a little strange. I promise you it works. So why does this stuff work? Well, for those that are familiar, you're using the dive response. And if you're not familiar, imagine that you just jump into a really cold pool of water. What's going to happen? You're not going to be thinking about what you were just thinking about before. You're probably not going to be pissed off about whatever was got you pissed off before. You're going to be focused on the now. We can use that to our advantage, and that's where the cold water comes into play. The physical grounds us to the now. So if we can use that to our advantage, you're not going to be off in your head, caught up in that anxiety that might even make you start to feel a little bit unsafe. It's going to keep you rooted to this moment. Doesn't mean it magically goes away. There's a lot of other things that you can do after that, but it helps you at least take that minute to come down enough that you can catch your breath, focus on your goals, and think about what your next step is going to be. So listen, earlier painful events reduce your regulation capacity today, even when you perform well professionally. And your identity can tangle itself around the job, and that makes seeking help feel like a threat instead of a resource. Anger, distance, and shutdown are often signs of overload, not disrespect or lack of care. When you build simple regulation systems at home, you stabilize your function in real time. You do not need the perfect plan. Progress, not perfection. You need the next step, and you can take it today.